Good day and welcome to the second module on solar PV module installation. In this module, we're going to be looking at the work safety and, of course, the necessary force aid on solar installation. Now, as you all know, that first safety is paramount at all levels of electronical installations, including wiring installations and what have you. Firstly, safety is first before anything else. Now, in this model, participants are expected to be able to demonstrate familiarity with common workplace safety rules and regulations, assess possible health and safety threats, and describe how to avoid them, identify different types of protective clothing and equipment, recognize the signs and symbols for work site safety. As a professional installer, it is necessary, and of course, the very first priority is to consider the safety of your site and, of course, your personal safety. The site safety mostly has to do with symbols and signs that exist within the site to help mostly installers and, of course, other participants of such project to understand that certain things are necessary or prohibited within that site. Now, those symbols and signs are being identified by, or perhaps described by, varieties of colors. Now, I'll be discussing a few most important symbols and colors that represent certain things on site and that every installer should actually take note of and make use of them because they are very important. One is the red flag, the red color, which simply indicates prohibition. It simply means when you see a red flag in a site, it means don't do this, never do this. That's the prohibition. Say, for example, never smoke in a gas station. Now, you find this red stroked symbol in most uh, gas stations where they indicate don't ever do this. So just the same way it is in a gas station is the same way we have it in our on our site where we make installations. Now, one prohibition, for example, could be never connect the two terminals of the battery together. Such prohibitions exist in the solar installation field. Another color is the yellow color, which indicates hazard. Now, this indicates hazard. Say for it's a warning, a very serious warning, saying, okay. Say for example, you have an electric transformer being installed in a particular site. Now, these symbols are often placed there to indicate or make more emphasis on how dangerous or the hazard or danger that might cause to a person if he or she were to actually go so close to such equipment or perhaps even try to touch such equipments. So the third type of color that identifies some level of safety in on the site is the blue color. Now, the blue color indicates necessity, like something that is compulsory. Of course, it is compulsory that when you are walking on a site, you use your helmet. So, such symbols, such color will be used to make emphasis on staff members or installers on that particular site to be mindful of always putting on their helmets. So these are basically the three major safety signs. Another important aspect of safety, as mentioned earlier, is the personal safety. Now, the personal safety of the installer. You, as the installer, how safe are you in making those installations? Now, you have to wear some personal safety kits or professional as a professional. these kits would help you protect you from any danger that might occur or accidents that might occur within that environment where the installation is being carried out. It is very important. Now, a few of such equipments would are the helmets, the gloves, as you can see on the screen, your safety boots, your fire extinguishers, your emergency first aids, and so on. Now, I know this equipment might not be easy to come by. I mean, where would you're a beginner and you don't have the money for an extinguisher, you don't have the money to buy some kind of a safety boot, or you don't have the money to buy, yeah, a safety boot. Now, you could get a boot, flat boots. They are boots that really aren't safety boots, but they're good for site works like this. Since we're not looking at very high possible voltage at these installations. They're basically DC. So if you don't actually connect the positive and negative terminals, you don't expect to have some kind of electrical shock or electrical blast or faint or hike. So you you could buy such equipment that are actually very minimal and necessary to have. Say, for example, just hand gloves and goggles. Of course, with the intention that when you have made some earnings, buy more of this equipment as they are very important and necessary for you to have such equipment while you go out working on site and making these installations. Now, it is also important that as an installer, you are able to identify the risks and, of course, the hazards that are involved in this installation so you know what you are actually trying to prevent as not to happen during the installation process. Now, one of which is the bond of skin. When you mistakenly breach the terminals of the battery, there's going to be a splash of urine, which is actually very dangerous because it causes skin burn and injuries, very severe injuries. Some of which could include loss of vision, loss of hearing, and even some speech impairment. I will be identifying some basic tips that will be necessary during the course of this installation. One of is how battery are being lifted during the installation. You are to lift the battery, keeping your feet apart, around shoulder width, one foot slightly forward, bend your hips and knee to squat down. One knee might be on the floor while the other is bent. Now, this is the best way to lift your batteries. If you go lifting your batteries in a different way, you might stray your back, or perhaps develop a backache due to wrong posture of lifting of the battery. So this is the best posture in lifting batteries on site when you are trying to place these batteries at key positions where is identified for for the installation. However, it is best advised that you ask for assistance from maybe your a partner or an apprentice who is working on site with you, because these batteries are very heavy. They're not very easy to carry. So rather than taking the risks of the hazards or the damage it might cost to you, why not just take assistance from somebody? So it's always good that you go along with somebody when you're working on site. It's in fact, I personally believe that one way you can assure safety is going along with somebody, not just walking by yourself. What happens when you an accident occurs? Who would rush out to help you? Another very important safety tip will be the use of strap while walking on rooftops. If you're walking on very high rooftops, it is very important that you use and your strap to avoid falling down or slipping off the roof and causing damage to yourself. maybe you could hit your head on the ground or even more severe damage. So it's very important that you use your strap. Now, another important tip is in an event where there's a fire outbreak, it's very important for you to take these three major steps, which is on the screen as you can see. One is draw attention to the fire. You see why it's important to be on the site with somebody and not just yourself. You draw attention to the fire so people can be aware of the fire and assist people who require support to escape. Now, there could be somebody who, as a result of that attention you called, you might have caused a panic to that person, and he's on the rooftop, and then he tries to like make a move, and then maybe hurt his leg or something, and to that respond, he couldn't maybe save himself. So you quickly save that person from that fire, assist him to escape from the fire, and then lastly try to extinguish the fire. After ascertaining that you have assisted everybody that is there. Now, there are some precautions you should take while trying to extinguish a fire. If the fire is small and contained, you could try to extinguish it. And make sure that you have safe from any toxic smoke and have a safe means to escape yourself. And your instinct tells you it's okay. Now, what it means that your instinct tells you it's okay is that you're sure that you could actually put out the fire. But if you are not sure, then it's best you flee the scene and eventually call experts who are known to handling such emergencies. This brings us to the end of this module. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to hit the subscription button.